All right. Chat, I hope you're as ready as I am. I'm like bouncing in my chair here. I'm all raring and ready to go. Because Djokovic is here with Do Any Percent. And oh, before we get into this, you know what? I gotta read this donation because it's from someone who is as hype as I am. Alexo sent in $25 saying, donating for an important cause. Good luck to all the runners across all the games featured. PS1 Doom is OP. You know what? I totally agree with that, Alexo. And good news, you don't have to wait any longer. Here's Djokovic with Doom Any Percent. Take it away.
Hello everyone, I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity to show PlayStation Doom 1 for you. So we are looking at any percent, lowest difficulty, and 30 levels of some console action. The guys told me that they like countdowns, so let's go in 3, 2, and 1. Got some loading screens because it's a CD-based console. But yeah, let's go. So, Doom on the PlayStation came out in 1995, and it's generally considered to be the best classic Doom console Doom port. There's also Doom 64, but that's not really a port, that's a brand new game. In terms of, let's say, game mechanics, two things need to be noted. First is that because this is an early PlayStation game, it's from before the time when the PlayStation controller had analog sticks, because those only came out in 1997, after the N64 invented the first stick. Sony said, let's do 2 sticks, because double stick, double fun. But we don't have those, so this game is played on the D-pad. It's kind of like if you were playing on a keyboard only, but a little bit worse, because it's kind of awkward. I'm strafing with the shoulder buttons. And the second thing about this port is, even though it runs the best out of all the classic Doom ports, you will still get some lag. So lag reduction strats are a big part of the speedrun. So that's why you're gonna see me pulling the GoldenEye thing occasionally. Except instead of looking into the ground, I'll be looking into walls to reduce the number of columns that get rendered by the engine. In fact, the engine is a pretty interesting thing about this board as well, since first of all, you got these colored sectors. That's the thing that was very lauded about this game. Adds a lot to the atmosphere, and that's also what got later used in Doom 64, which was made by the same devs. But the more interesting thing about the engine is how it draws stuff, because if you've played any PlayStation game, you might be aware of things like texture warping or polygon warping, those kinds of issues, and this game doesn't have any. And that's by design, because the way they decided to go about rendering the levels is with this strange hardware/software hybrid renderer, where the hardware draws the game, but it only draws it one column at a time, kind of like a raycaster. Imagine a bit of Wolfenstein 3D thrown into the mix, and that allowed them to bypass the warping issues, because you don't really notice any warping if it's just 1 pixel wide. But yeah, let's talk about the gameplay as well a little bit. So, these maps are kind of interesting, because that's also part of the console Doom heritage. Because what they decided to do is they decided to reuse the maps as they were in the Atari Jaguar version of the game, or version of Doom. And for that console, they simplified the levels a lot, both in terms of geometry and in terms of texture fidelity. So that's why you see a lot of the same texture being used on the walls. And for the PlayStation version, they just copied and pasted those maps as they were. And those simplified maps have some quirks in some cases where they cut a lot of the levels. Probably for memory concerns. And one of those levels is coming up right now. If you've played E1M6 on PC, you might remember this room with the red key where you enter and you get locked in there for 30 seconds and you have to fight. But here the red key is just lying here in the open and you can pick it up without any sort of issues, which saves a lot of time, for sure. And now the rest of the level is the same as on PC, so we're gonna go through the secret, get the yellow key, and now on Ultraviolence you would probably take the other secret and get the supercharge, but since we're playing on the easiest one, since it's 90%, we can not do that and just take the normal way and go into this infamous pinky room. But thankfully, again, the difficulty means a lot less pinkies, and I still managed to get stuck, which is unfortunate, but we have this very conveniently placed medkit that I can collect. Loading times are pretty consistently 7 seconds long. But turns out to be the speed of the CD-ROM or the CD drive for the CD on the PlayStation. There's gonna be a pinky blocking the way, so I'll equip the rocket launcher and that's it. Not the easiest to aim properly. I'm hoping I'm making it look easy, but it's not the simplest to play the game without a mouse. Although at least I have relatively playable frame rates. It's gonna get worse in later parts of the game, but so far this is almost always close to 30, so it's pretty nice to play. Here you're definitely gonna see some of those lag reduction strats that I was talking about, because I'm gonna make sure to spin around this wall so that I never look out of the window and draw a bunch of the map. And let's go into E1M8. That's the boss fight, the Bruiser Brothers, the two Barons. Okay, those guys managed to explode themselves. That's never happened before. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like the rocket launcher does more damage in this game than in PC Doom, because usually on PC, to kill a Baron of Hell, you need 6 rockets. But here, I'm getting pretty consistently just 5 rockets. So it seems like there's a different RNG table, perhaps, that would influence the damage. So that's episode 1 done, but in this game you don't really get episodes. All of the Doom 1 episode content is merged into a single campaign, so we go straight into E2M1, and the benefit of this is that we keep the weapons. There is no pistol start for each episode, which is gonna save a lot of time in terms of collecting the weapons again. And here coming up is a trick unique to this version as far as I know, and that's pressing buttons through walls. It's probably not unique, maybe some of the other console Dooms have it too, but in here it's a major trick that we're gonna see in multiple levels. What I did there is I pressed a button that lowers that teleporter through the wall, which in that level is just a minor skip, because it means you don't have to activate a staircase and go past an enemy. Yeah, maybe it's in other versions as well, because I said that the maps were sort of recycled from the Atari Jaguar version, and the entire engine is actually based off of that version, because the Atari Jaguar version was one of the first, but it was, more importantly, it was made by id Software themselves, by John Carmack and co. And so it sort of became the canonical code base for all console Doom releases. So it got sort of enhanced for PlayStation Doom, and then the PlayStation Doom engine is what got reused by the same devs for Doom 64. And that's not the only thing that got reused for Doom 64, because as you've been hearing now for maybe 10 minutes, the sound effects are pretty familiar. That's because the sound and music guy, Aubrey Hodges, that did the sounds and music for this game, then later also did Doom 64. So they use the same sound effects. And the music, you've also probably been listening, it's not the usual Bobby Prince kind of metal vibes. It's a more spooky sort of ambient noises kind of soundtrack. Oh, wow. The pinky opened the door for me, but I wasn't counting on that, so I closed it in front of my face. That's unfortunate. Something I didn't point out is that in the previous level I picked up the plasma rifle, and thanks to playing on the lowest difficulty and getting double ammo, the plasma rifle is going to be the weapon of choice for pretty much the entire rest of the run. I'm gonna have enough ammo into it that I just never need to switch. Okay, now we go into Command Center, which is usually E2M5, and that's another one of those levels where the cuts to the levels are pretty noticeable. First one is funny. In that first room, I took the left staircase, and that's because I have to. The right staircase got cut. On PC, the room is symmetrical, but here it isn't. But then you go into this sort of maze with doors with skull switches that Sandy Peterson thought was a good idea, but it's reduced in size a lot. Because it's basically, what, 2 doors, and I'm already at the end of the level. In fact, a lot of the episode 2 content was reduced in size. It might be sort of heritage of the fact that a lot of episode 2 maps were Tom Hall maps that then got finished by Sandy Peterson, and we know that Tom Hall liked to do large levels, very horizontal levels, because he was still sort of in the Wolfenstein mindset during Doom development. And so what I'm trying to say is that the maps are really large. So for example, in this map you have the infamous fake exit here on PC, but in here that entire section is cut, so I just immediately receive the yellow key. But the other half of the map is pretty much the same, which means we now get the red key as well. I'm making sure to not shoot there as I go into this room, so that I don't wake any of the enemies up. Now just wiggle my way through a couple of pink keys, and here's the blue key, and let's get out of there before the monsters exit their closets. And yeah, let's go. E2M7. This one is also heavily reduced because on PC there's that sort of area with a lot of boxes and some pinkies and barons, but that entire section gets cut, so you immediately go into this door, which on PC is locked with a blue key. Here there is no blue key, so we immediately go into here and get the yellow key. Ah! Somebody slammed it in front of my face. There we go. Alright, so if you know your PC Doom, you know that coming up would be the Cyber Demon fight, but here, it's not here. Instead we get Hellgate, which is an exclusive level to this port. but it's usually a big arena, but we can skip the entire level by pressing the exit switch through the wall. I got that very quickly. Usually it requires a precise lineup, but I got that very fast. I'm very pleased about that. And that allows to skip all the fighting. And we go into Hellkeep, which replaces E3M1, and it's another exclusive level. And actually on the ultra-violence difficulty, it's not called ultra-violence in this game, they call it something else. All the difficulties are called something else than on PC. So the lowest one is called I am a wimp, rather than I'm too young to die. But anyway, I was saying, on the hardest skill, this map is really hard, because you get almost no resources at all. I think there's one, maybe two medkits in the whole map, and that's pretty much it. You get very little ammo as well. So I don't even dare thinking about pistol starting that level. Even in sort of continuous campaign, you usually end up using almost all ammo that you got up till then. Pandemonium, I think this map is pretty similar. So we got the BFGs there. And we go into E3M4. You may have noticed that E3M2, which is the map that's shaped like a hand with 5 fingers, that one got cut completely. Which is sad. I know that map is usually not very popular, but I personally like it. I'm a fan of that map. Alright. This is the silly double door. And this room is completely different, because on PC you get some columns with a lot of switches, and it's an awful room, but here it's just a courtyard. Much more pleasant. Unholy Cathedral, here's a lot of teleporter maps. I remember, before I learned the speedrun route, I would get lost in this level all the time. Oop, some wonky collision there. That's another engine quirk that makes the movement a bit harder than you would expect. Just all the walls can sometimes be really sticky for no reason. And this is behavior that was also inherited by Doom 64. And it's kind of funny, because on PC, the first Doom 64 port was Doom 64 EX, made by Kaiser, and that port didn't have those sticky walls. And so then when the official remaster came out and included the proper physics, including sticky walls, a lot of people complained about that. Coming up is E3M7 Limbo, also known as the worst map in the game. It's a huge maze with a lot of doors, red doors, and a lot of damaged floors. Wow, he survived that. I know on PC you do get to skip a bunch of this maze thanks to doing a jump, or in this game jumping means running really fast across a gap in order to walk over it. But in this port the gravity is significantly higher, which means that as soon as you leave the floor you drop like a stone. So it really reduces the width of gap that you are able to cross. which is why I'm doing the level basically normally. Some skulls. And now we go into E3M8, which is Tower of Babel. So we get the Cyber Demon fight as the more fitting boss, the boss of hell. Let's see, how many BFG shots does it take? I'm gonna be happy with 3. I whiffed the orb. 4 hits, still good, and I kept a lot of health, which we will need, because we are not done with the game. We have episode 4 content as well. Which means E4M1 Hell Beneath, also known as the level that only has 6 health bonuses for health pickups on the highest skill. Oh, I fell down. Not planned, but we can save it through the secret. All is good. And this part, in here, it's really important that I don't miss picking up the chain gun earlier in the campaign. Otherwise, as you would go into that red key area with a lot of enemies, you would pick up the chain gun there, and you would get trolled by the auto weapon switching, and it would lose at least 5 seconds, because you would switch to the chain gun and then back again. Okay, let's go into E4M2 Perfect Hatred, and this level, I mentioned lag previously. This is the level that really doesn't run well. It's about 10 FPS in this area. Another thing you can notice is that the ceiling and all the geometry is much lower. Let me just push a button through the wall real quick. So everything is much lower here, and that's because of an engine limitation in this port. It's sort of a side effect of the hybrid render that I spoke about earlier. They have a limitation where they can only manage to repeat a texture up to 256 pixels. And if the wall was taller than 256 pixels, then it would look all wrong. And that's why all the geometry is squished. And that's very important for the Doom 2 version of this, or Doom 2 in this port, because that limitation meant they had to cut a lot of Doom 2 levels, the city levels with the really tall fake skyscrapers, because with the height limitation it just wouldn't work at all, those levels. So they cut them completely. Which means that the Doom 2 campaign for this has only about 26 levels, I think. In that way, it's a lot shorter. But then also, some skips are not possible that are on PC. So Doom 2 ends up being kind of long. And I don't really like Doom 2 anyway. That's why I'm playing Doom 1. The better overall experience. I have to make sure to take the right teleporter here. Come on, yeah. Collision on doors and buttons can be a bit deceiving in this game sometimes, because you really need to be facing the button almost head-on. But then sometimes it's if you're too head-on, it doesn't work either. It's kind of strange. And now we're in E4M8. So they cut about half of episode 4, including the really annoying Romero level with the Cyber Demon. so that's nice at least. Got the yellow key here, and let's take the secret to quickly get out of here. And now on PC, the boss here is a spider mastermind. But in this version of the game, we don't get a spider mastermind, we get 4 Hell Knights as the boss, which is pretty lame. And it's really weird, because this game does have a spider mastermind. It gets used in Doom 2, because they cut the icon of sin. So in Doom 2 you get a spider mastermind. And I guess in here they decided they don't want to spoil the mastermind, so they turned it into Hell Knights. Now we are in Twilight Descent, which is an exclusive level in this port. And it's also the longest level in the game. Well placed. Oh, that one missed completely. No worries. Now we need to clean that area behind the fence ahead of time, because that's where we go. Oops. My fire button slipped there. So there you go, press that button. In this area we need to press like a bunch of buttons in order to raise this sector here, which has an elevator right next to it. And we need to raise the elevator and the stairs enough so that we can reach the red key right here. Now we get to go into the second half of this level, which is thankfully much shorter. We just need to make this jump. That's the one jump we do make. And now with the help of this invincibility, we get to just power through this hallway. Careful not to fall off there. And where's the teleporter? There we go. That is Twilight Descent. So now we have Threshold of Pain, another exclusive level and the final level of the game. So this is a warning to all the timer people that when this level is over, the run will be also over. Make dodge all the enemies, and here the wall opens and I need to kill all these imps. Unfortunate that they dodged the ball, because if you know how the BFG works, when the ball hits, about 40 tracers get released from where Doom Guy is standing, and that's what does most of the damage. I need to kill those imps because we will pass through there later. Later being right now, actually. Right here. And coming up, there is a blue bar with a button behind it, but you can actually just press the button around the bars. And alright, so there's gonna be an exit button, and it's right here. Time. This is the end. You get no boss. Just a button.
GG, oh my gosh, that was fast! Like, you squished it. You squished it into about as short a time period as the game was squished for consoles. Thank you so much, Zokovich.
If I may ask, do you have the timer somewhere? I'm interested in the time.
What I see on screen right now is 28 minutes and 1 second.
That's PB for me.
Yeah! Oh, nice. Well,
All
congrats
right.
on PB. Dang.
All right.
And
Yeah, I'm happy. Thanks for having me.
yeah, I hope you are, because wow, that was amazing. In case anyone wants to see more of you being awesome at Classic Doom, where can they find you?
It's Twitch TV/the_Kovic.
All right, chat. Well, make sure you go check out the Kovish because I blasted through that. And again, we are the Modern Doom Speedrunning Summer 2023 event. We do have more amazing FPSs coming out, so stick around, stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss any of it, just like I'm sure you didn't blink during this one, so keep your eyes peeled. We'll be right back.